Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It begins in the ancient city of Erech with three curvaceous witches straddling a cauldron. They're anything but attractive and prophesize that their high priest Maax will die at the hands of the king's unborn son. The moment he mentions assassinating him, King Zed immediately pops his head and like, hey, I've heard you want to sacrifice babies. Maax doesn't deny anything, so Zed needs to call off his trigger-happy captain Seth from laying a beatdown on the cultist. His men are even crazier than he is and neck themselves in a moment's notice as a demonstration that they don't fear death or something like that. Zed's had enough of the prosthetic nose already and tells the high priest to get the hell out, but that night one of the witches sneaks into his bedchambers. She uses a liquid to paralyze the royal family and then casts a gotcha baby spell to transfer the queen's womb to the belly of a cow. The witch then goes into the woods to build a sacrificial fire before cutting the infant out of the cow's stomach when he's finished marinating. His palms branded with the symbol of their god, but before she can hurl him into the flames, a traveler throws a weapon called a kappa into the witch's back. When he retrieves it, she teleports behind him and the two battle, but the old warrior still got it in him to hold his sword outright while the witch runs into it. He then tosses her unusually attractive body on the fire and adopts the newborn to raise as his own child in his stilted village of Emir. The boy grows up being trained in swordplay, and one day his father demonstrates how to throw the kappa by nearly decapitating another villager. The ill-fated man suddenly dragged into the bushes and mauled to death by a hungry grizzly bear that slowly waddles towards its next meals. Our young Beastmaster learns that he has the ability to eyeball commands into animals and orders the bear to piss off lest he be hurled into space. As time goes on, the young branded boy grows into a strapping farmer named Dar who has kept his Doolittle skills a secret from the village. One day while him and his boys are out with their hoes, they notice a group of horsemen called the Juns approaching Emir. As Dar and his dog Toto run home, his father tries to pull the "don't cross this perimeter" bluff, but it doesn't work and the Jun leader's horse tramples him. They completely destroy the village on the order of Maax while Dar desperately tries to fend off the invaders before obtaining one of their swords. He picks out the commander by his ridiculously sized headdress, but before Dar can cut the head off the snake, a Jun soldier knocks him unconscious. The horde proceed to slaughter everybody while Maax fails to notice his prophesized doombringer laying unconscious right next to him. The man's best friend comes running in to drag Dar to safety, and even when Toto's shot with a crossbow, he gets him out of harm's way. When Dar finally wakes up, he finds Toto succumbed to his wounds along with the entire village who've been impaled on what's left of their homes. The sole survivor takes his father's sword and throwing kappa then rounds up all of the bodies including Toto before setting them alight. When leaving, Dar notices a nearby eagle and uses his ability to brainwash animals simply by looking at them and gains a new companion for his travels. One day while searching for revenge, a pair of ferrets steal what little clothing he has and lead the clumsy Dar into a puddle of quicksand. The ferrets laugh from atop a low-hanging branch, but the Beastmaster does the stare and the animals are forced to submit to his will. One gnaws on the base while the other weighs it down enough for Dar to reach, but he just trades places with it in the quicksand. He screams for help while his wife says, "Look what you've done," so Dar retrieves the suffocating ferret and names them Koto and Poto. They accompany Dar in his purse until he begins seeing through the eyes of another nearby animal that's surrounded by Jun soldiers. They find them torturing a painted tiger because it's easier for filming than a real panther, but before Dar can throw his kappa, a soldier tackles him from behind. Using him for an arrow shield, Dar throws the kappa at the elusive archer, but it boomerangs into his back. The eagle then mauls another archer while the ferrets steal the remaining arrows, forcing the Jun soldiers to fight Dar with their swords. He easily cuts them down as the years of log swinging has paid off, and when there's only one left, uses his kappa to release the tiger on it. Now with a new feline friend he calls. Dar continues his journey of collecting animals like this as Pokemon until coming across two beautiful women skinny dipping. He concocts a scheme with his furry little friends who steal a slave girl named Kiri's clothes and lead her in pursuit through the woods. She falls right into the clutches of the large growling tiger panther, when the even bigger predator suddenly pops up and tells the lady that there's nothing to worry about as his bravery will ward off the savage beast. Rue wanders off thinking this is pathetic, and our Beastmaster takes a kiss as payment for saving the girl's life whether she wants to give it or not. She trips him over and doesn't get much resistance when applying the full mount until he simply throws her off and sits on her back like Steve Irwin on a crock. Realizing that she's already somebody's property, Dar allows Kiri to return to her slave master before thinking that maybe he should actually try to save this girl's life instead of just pretending. She's already too far ahead, and while trying to pick up the trail, he comes across a large sinister-looking tree with glowy cocoons hanging from the branches. At the base, Dar finds a caged man about to be boiled in a cauldron when suddenly they're surrounded by humanoids with no facial features except eyes. The hero releases the prisoner as a guinea pig to see what will happen, getting him wrapped up in some of the Batman's wings and devoured in seconds. They then slowly approach Dar with their wings wrapped around them like robes, but the moment they see his bird friend they all suddenly stand down. Revering eagles as godlike beings, the winged devourers let Dar leave, but not before he receives something from the gift shop on the way out. The next morning Dar arrives at the city of Eric, that's roads lined with the desiccated corpses of all the town's young men. He crosses the tar-filled moat and enters the already open gates to find what few people remain gathered around the sacrificial ziggurat. Maax now rules the city and forces what few men still remain to breed with women for a constant stream of sacrifices to their god. He tosses screaming children into a fire, so Dar orders his eagle to swoop down and snatch one up, as this bird is ridiculously strong. That night he uses the ferrets like bloodhounds to locate the child's family, and her father Sacco is overjoyed to direct their savior to the slave girls. While on his way, Dar gets attacked by two assassins as Maax uses a cauldron to watch what happens through an eyeball on his servant's rings. One's mauled to death by Rue, so the mounted one lures the cat into a Burmese tiger trap and takes aim with his crossbow, but is suddenly knocked off his horse and pushed into the pit by Seth and his young friend. Dar thanks the strangers for feeding his cat, and they help him move a log into the pit so Rue can use it to climb out. They decide to help rescue the slave girls, and that night we learn that Seth's young companion is Dar's half-brother Tal. He's there to rescue his father King Zed from the temple's dungeon, while Seth recognizes Kiri's necklace that the ferret stole from her earlier. We learn that she's Tal's cousin, which would also make her Dar's, and it gets a little bit weird in hoping that it's from the mother's side of the family. In the morning, Dar and his first human friends are already waiting ahead of the caravan of slave girls as they're brought to a river crossing. One of the priests decides that now's a good time to drown Kiri, I guess, so the boys ambush the guards and kill about half of the escort. The rest are taken hostage before reinforcements can arrive, but realizing they're moving too slow, Kiri kicks them overboard as you gotta do what you gotta do. They sail away while the rest of the women are presumably found again for sacrificing, but our main cast survives, so that's all that matters. With a little kissy-kissy from his cousin, Dar is convinced to help rescue the king, unaware that it's his biological father, and we just hope that she isn't. When they reach Eric, Seth leaves to rally as many people as he can find, while Dar, Kiri and Tal sneak inside the city with the help of Sacco. He drops them at the temple, but Maax watches everything they do as Tal wears the priest's eyeball ring that he found in Dar's purse. Inside the temple, our hero must scale across the ceiling to avoid beastly creations of the high priests called death guards. He seals them inside their cage, and the three witness their creation through a grate in the floor, which involves a glowy green leech inserted into a prisoner's ear. The priests encase the man in spiked armor, turning him into a mindless killing machine that breaks out and slaughters all of his creators. Dar lowers down Kodo and Poto on a string to steal the keys, but when the death guard goes nuts, they're forced to flee for their tiny little lives. Kiri sneaks away through a hidden passage to the armory and returns with a dagger, as it turns out she can actually fight. They locate King Zed, who's now an old blind man, but they've walked into a trap as Maax and his witch capture the Beastmaster and his friends. Unfortunately for them, they forgot about the giant tiger who chases them into the cell where they're forced to fight. The witch temporarily blinds Dar, and luckily Tal gets taken hostage by Maax because he begins dangerously, just swinging his sword around. With Rue peering through the door, he sees through the cat's eyes to locate the witch slithering up the wall onto the ceiling and sticks her with his sword. Kiri then uses a rope dart to pull Maax's knife away from Tal, and when Rue breaks down the door, he's forced to flee through a secret passage. Dar waits for Kodo and Poto while everybody else gets sealed beneath a boulder and escapes the temple, but somehow Kiri returns. A large group of priests attempt to get inside, but the ferrets lead the death guard right to them and fit under the door to rejoin Dar. They take an air vent to escape and belay themselves down the cliff, and luckily brought the metal rope because the death guard's unable to cut it. Being outside, the eagle's now able to assist, and we know how strong this bird is, that it's able to throw the full-grown armored man to his death. Dar and Kiri then drop down into Sacco's wagon and wait at the city gates while Kodo and Poto begin gnawing on the counterweight rope. A Jun cowboy comes herding death guards towards the group, while a soldier on the wall prepares to make ferret stew out of poor Poto. Just before they all die, Kodo bites the guards nuts and the rope breaks, opening the gate and allowing them all to escape. Dar then slices the counterweight's counterweight rope as they pass it, and it crushes the death guards while the ferrets leap down into their getaway wagon. They all meet up with Seth, who's rallied together a 35-man army, but it's all for nothing as Zed's a complete moron. He tells Dar to piss off as he's a freaky beastmaster, then ironically complains that Maax murdered his firstborn son as nobody's figured it out yet. Our hero goes off to sulk the night away with his furry friends while Zed comes up with the highly strategic plan of charging Strait at the enemy's castle. Kiri knows this will get them all killed, especially when Seth discovers the eyeball ring spying on them, but they're all honor bound to follow their foolish king. In the morning, Dar wakes up to the news from Sacco that they've all been imprisoned, go figure, and rides straight into Eric as they luckily never seal the gate. A Jun collects Kiri from the prisoner wagon and brings her up the ziggurat to a sacrificial altar where she's knocked unconscious to shut up already. Maax prepares to plunge his dagger into her heart when Dar arrives in the nick of time and tosses the ferrets into the wagon on his way past. They gnaw through Tal and Seth's binding so they can hold off the soldiers while Dar ascends the Ziggy, cutting down all those that approach. When all that's left is Maax and his final witch retreats, he reveals that Zed and Dar are actually father and son but ruins any family reunion they might have had by killing the king. He then thinks that he can overpower the Beastmaster, but Dar just sticks the high priest's own knife into his stomach. The hero saves the girl and the townspeople cheer in victory, but Maax pulls the knife out and sneaks up behind them. Kodo comes to the rescue, sacrificing himself to tackle Maax into the fire, but Dar's unable to reach him in time and the little guy perishes. Kodo looks on distraught at what happened before Dar picks up the sad widowed ferret and they see the Greater Jun army approaching. It arrives by nightfall, still being led by the winged helmet commander who signals his army to charge the gates. The townspeople just spent the whole day covering the surrounding moat with dirt, and the plan works as the horses ride straight into the tar pit. The man tasked with lighting the moat gets killed, so Tal picks it up but is also shot by a crossbow and falls short. Anytime that Kiri puts on more clothing, something comes along to remove it and she rushes over to tend to Tal, but a soldier climbs out of the tar pit. She sets him on fire and Dar dropkicks the human torch into the moat, causing a massive explosion that somehow doesn't kill everybody. Instead of them, stop dropping and rolling Juns keep emerging on fire to fight with Dar, while Kiri has her own to deal with and Seth about half a dozen at once. Eventually the main cast are surrounded and massively outnumbered, which is when the Jun leader decides to approach, as he's just a coward like that. Along with his transforming club, the leader challenges Dar to a duel and knocks his sword away but gets brought down from his mount in return. Retrieving his father's sword, the two fight, but when Dar slices a wing off the leader's helmet he takes it personal and turns his club axe into a flail. He misses with it anyway, and after a nice kick to the face our hero kills both of his father's killers today by throwing this one into the moat. Still having to deal with the remaining soldiers, our winged devourers arrive to save their featherless friend and do what their name intends. All that's left of the soldiers when they're done is their gooey armor, and the Batman gives Dar the nod of approval before returning to their tree. Somehow Tal survived the arrow, as I guess we've already had enough child killing in this movie and takes only a day to recover. In the morning Seth recognizes by the brand that Dar's the rightful king of Eric, but he has too much fun being a Beastmaster. He leaves the ruling to King Tal, and I guess he got over Kiri because he departs the city without even saying a word to her. She follows him anyway, and the kissing cousins continue their adventure while Poto's revealed to be a single mother of two. And the movie ends.